Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here or if you're coming back, thank you. But if you're new, this is video 8 of a 10, 11, 12 part series where we're going to go over how to create Facebook ads, how to create an AI chatbot, which we already did, how to marry it together with GoHighLevel and CloseBot.ai, these two different services that we're using to create a powerful lead generation machine for you and your small business. This is the same exact system that I put in place for my clients, and it is working incredibly well, so I wanted to share it with you here for free. Now, before you ask, are you selling us something? Is this why you're doing it? The answer is yes, I am selling you something, but you actually don't even have to buy it because everything I'm showing you can do here yourself. Now, in the description, I do have a opt-in link for you to opt in and get these handouts to your email for free. It's easier for me, honestly, to do that than to service every comment and every DM about this series. So go down, click the link, there'll be a landing page, and you can put your information in, and I'll send you this information. Now, other things, there's a one-on-one consultation call. If there's something in this series that you see and it doesn't make sense to you or you're having issues within your GoHighLevel sub-accounts, go down there and book a one-on-one consultation. It is not free. My time is valuable, so is yours. I want to make sure that we have one-on-one chatter. But again, everything we do here is free. Another thing I decided to do, we're going to build out this entire functional account with a bot and all the automations necessary. We're doing it for a pressure washing company, but it can be done for any home service company, any professional service, whether you're a real estate agent, a lender, an attorney, whatever it is. I'm going to sell this snapshot that we build here for $27. It's incredibly cheap, and it's not even necessary because I'm showing you how to do it yourself. This is for the people who want to save time, who want to have this in their repository, or they want it to use. I'm just going to put it up there whenever we're done. Now, I'll do that once the account is done and up, and I'll put the link in the description. Maybe it may not be in this video, maybe it's in a future video, but I'll do my best to update all the other videos for that. But again, it's not important that you buy anything from me. Everything here is going to be free, so stick around. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm going to recap. So in the prior videos, we went over what our system consisted of. We went into Facebook and we created our lead form. We did that first because I find that if you do that first and you lay the groundwork for everything to come in, once we create our ads, we just select our lead form and we're not bouncing all over the place. So it's the preferred workflow that I like, so I just chose to share it with you. Other thing we did was we had an AI chatbot build. Now, if you haven't watched that video yet, go to video 6. That was probably the most valuable video. It's certainly the most popular video so far. It's a long video. It's an hour long. This is going to be a longer video, but it's absolutely important that you watch these videos. That AI chatbot video alone is so powerful. I know people who are charging upwards of $19,000, $20,000 in a group that I'm in to set up these chatbots, and you're able to see it here for free. So I think it's super valuable. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Now, today, what we're going to go through is critical workflows that support this entire system. Now, if you don't know what a workflow is, well, you're in the right place because I'm going to teach you what it is, and I'm going to show you how to configure them step by step, click by click. Now, it's important that we go through and discuss. One disclaimer, I say it in every one of my videos. If you're watching these videos, I really recommend that you watch them undistracted. Or if you're distracted the first time you watch them, you're definitely going to want to watch them again as you follow along and go through click by click. In the bio or in the description, there's links and there are affiliate links for GoHighLevel, for CloseBot. And I ask that if you choose to sign up to these services, use the affiliate links. It helps me, it helps the channel, and encourages me to continue to make content like this. If you don't use them, it's okay. The content's still going to be there. You can use it. You may already be a user. That's all right. Go ahead and implement this stuff. It's really powerful. But watch these videos all the way through. They are longer. They do contain a ton of detail. They're dense. Now, you know, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but technical stuff, if you miss one, it's kind of like math class. If you miss one core concept and you continue to go on, you can break something. It can be really frustrating to troubleshoot, so I want you to stick with me. Enough on that. Now, I will be providing this as a handout just so you can follow along. And let's go into the discussion. So I want to discuss, before we go into workflows, I want to discuss what are opportunities/sales pipelines. What am I talking about? Well, they are a graphical representation. Typically, it's I'll actually show you the interface here in HighLevel. If you click on the Opportunities tab, we don't have anything in here yet, but we will. But it's a way to organize your leads, and we'll organize them in stages. So you'll have stages, for example, that say new lead, contact made, estimate set, estimate complete, job scheduled, closed, right? Just as an example. We're actually going to go through and create it in this video here. but it is a graphical way for you to keep track. And the goal of this opportunities workflow for you or potentially your team members or your sales team is you want to move the lead, which looks like a little tile. You'll see it from left to right. That's the whole goal. Hey, if somebody's sitting in new lead, they shouldn't be sitting in new lead for 2 days. How do we get this person to qualified lead or contact made? We need to move this along. Okay, once the contact's made, how do we get them to estimate set? Okay, once the estimate's set, how do we document that the estimate's been complete? And once it's complete, how do we move them to closed, right? We'll add another one like follow up and trash bin. We'll use those for different automations. But for now, we're going to stick to the basics. That's what an opportunities pipeline is. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense. We're going to create one on this video. Now, the big topic of this video, automation workflows. What are they? They are a series of triggers and actions that happen automatically. Simple as that. Something happens that triggers another action, and then the ball rolls downhill and things just start happening for you automatically. The point of these workflows is to take monotonous, repetitive tasks that you have in your business or in your sales process and just make them automatic. And best of all, make them happen 24/7 while you sleep. Now, what's a trigger? A trigger is an event that tells the system to do something, an action. So, for example, we have a trigger that we're going to configure here that is anytime a Facebook lead form is filled out or submitted. That's a trigger. That tells the system, hey, trigger this workflow and do these things. I'm going to show you what it means. What are the actions? That's self-explanatory. It's what comes after the trigger. Easy enough. You'll see this. Big disclaimer here, not all automation is good, okay? You can overcomplicate it. When people get turned on to the automation stuff, they tend to get super excited and want to automate every little piece of your business. I strive to make things simpler and simpler and simpler, if that's even a word. I don't even know. But make it simple, right? And the reason I say this is because it's twofold. One, the more complex it is, the harder it is to troubleshoot. Actually, it's threefold. The harder it is to troubleshoot, the harder it is to replicate, and the harder it is for your team or somebody who's replacing you to take over and keep up with. So make things simple. I'm going to do my best to make things simple here. I'm only one person. Somebody might see these workflows in here and come up with an even better and more simple and more scalable way to do it. If you do, comment down below. I love your feedback. I am not the master of everything GoHighLevel. So let's do this together. Now, there's a few things we're going to focus on when it comes to workflows. We're going to focus on lead engagement. We're going to focus on team notification, making sure our team knows what's going on with our lead pipeline. Reminders for the team and for the lead. Let's say we have an appointment. We want to remind them of that appointment as early and as often as we can so that we're not wasting our time and they're not wasting theirs. And then we want to update the sales pipeline so that we can stay organized. We want to make sure that sales are moving from A to Z, and every stage of the pipeline, if there are automations that need to happen, we can trigger based off those pipeline moves, and then we can make something happen. For example, once you close a sale, send a review request. We can put that on autopilot. Once a lead makes it from estimate complete to close sale, then we can send a review request automatically without even thinking about it. So I'll show you how to do that in here. Now, other things we can do, and this is sort of advanced. I'm going to cover this in another video, but we can update external systems like the Facebook API, right? We can use our system in GoHighLevel to reach out to some of our other systems that we use. I don't expect for you to only use GoHighLevel or LeadBrain and CloseBot. Those aren't the only two systems you use. You might have an invoicing system. You might have a dispatching system. You might have a filing system. Whatever it is in your business, you can use these automation workflows to reach out and share the information with those automatically, so you're not manually importing and exporting data via typing, via teletype. You can do it automatically. So let's hop into it. First thing we're going to do is create a simple sales pipeline. So we went over here already. So you come into the Opportunities tab. We are going to add a pipeline because one does not exist right now. So if you do that, create new pipeline, and we're just going to name this sales. We are going to create some arbitrary stages right now. Don't get overly complicated with this. We'll have new lead, qualified. Well, we know these are leads, so we'll just say new, qualified, estimate set, estimate complete. Forgive my OCD. Job scheduled. Closed. And then, so this is the core pipeline. New lead comes in, we qualify the lead, they become a qualified lead, an estimate is set, an estimate's complete, the job is scheduled, and we close the sale. But we all know that's not how every single lead comes in, that comes in the pipeline ends up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add follow-up. And we might not do anything with these stages right now, but I'm just going to keep them there. And then we're going to do trash bin, because inevitably we're going to get leads that come into our pipeline and they're not qualified, or we don't want to talk to them, or they're out of our service area, and we'll put them in the trash bin. And we're going to do some things with that whenever somebody makes it into the trash bin, just so that we can do things on autopilot. So let's go ahead and save this pipeline. And if we take a second here, it'll create, and you come over here to opportunities. Now we can see that we have the stages I was telling you about, the visible stages that I was telling you about. So if we come in here and we add an opportunity, well, first of all, we need to add a contact. So let's add a contact called test lead, and we are going to say test@gmail.com. And this is a fake number, so please don't bother this person. I don't know who they are. This is just a fake number. Then we'll go into opportunities, and I want to show you what an opportunity actually looks like. So I might have to wait a second before, there it is, test lead's in there. So we're going to create it. And if we refresh this page, we see we now have a new tile. That tile I was telling you about, this is a test lead. So this is going to happen automatically whenever somebody fills out the Facebook form. They're going to be created in the new lead pipeline, and then a bot's going to start engaging with them. And then once the bot engages with them, then we'll move them along, right? And you can drag and drop these. If you're using the mobile app, you can move them as well in different ways by coming in the opportunity and changing the stage. But the neat part about this is every step of the pipeline, we can come in here and we can configure automations for every stage. We can have that stage change be a trigger for automations, and that's really powerful. And we're not going to configure a bunch of them for each one, because erring on the side of simplicity, we're going to keep things simple for now. So let's go ahead and delete this opportunity, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete this contact so we can keep the system nice and clean. We'll create another test contact later on. Awesome. Cool. Now, we created the sales pipeline. Next thing we're going to do before we go into the overview of the workflows is we're going to turn off missed call text back. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, why would I want to turn off? First of all, what is missed call text back? Missed call text back is a great feature that GoHighLevel has, that if somebody calls the number that you have in here and you miss it, they'll automatically text them to engage that lead and try to salvage that lead before they contact your competition. That's really powerful, but the way they do it is very simple and you don't have a ton of control. So we're going to turn that off, and we're actually going to create a workflow of our own to upgrade that and to be a little bit more sophisticated and to activate our bot, most importantly, because we want to have a full-blown conversation with them. So we're going to turn that off. I'm going to show you where to go. Go to settings, and then in the business profile, if you scroll down, it looks like it's already turned off. So, oh, no, it's not. There it is. So yeah, it's already turned off. So good to go. We don't need to turn it on. If you were in here and it was turned on, you would just uncheck that and save missed call text back settings. Awesome. Now, this diagram, I wanted to show you this first so you can have a visual representation of what we're doing. And then I'm going to hop into these and we're just going to create them because this is already a long video. So first thing we want to do is a Facebook lead is going to come in, they're going to see your ad, they're going to submit a lead form, and they're going to come into this workflow called lead intake. And lead intake is going to do a few things. It's going to tag the lead, create the opportunity, notify the team, email the lead, trigger the initial bot message, and it's going to potentially do some advanced things we'll do in a future video. Now, it's going to wait 30 minutes. If this is unanswered, then it'll go into short-term nurture and continue to contact the lead for the next 4 to 8 hours and potentially for the next week, right? I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm actually going to make some changes here to try to simplify it for you, and I'm going to do it live, so you're going to sit with me as I sort of try to figure out this stuff logically. Hopefully I don't mess it up, but I'm sure we'll learn something together. But if they do answer, I want them to just go over to the qualification bot and let the bot do its work. And while the bot's doing its work, I want the system to constantly check for goals. Are the objectives that the bot has being completed? And the objectives we had here was like we wanted their address and we wanted to book them on the calendar. I think at this point, whenever we have their name, phone number, email, and address, I'm going to consider it a qualified lead, and then we're going to notify the team that there's a qualified lead. Now, another few workflows we're going to create here. We're going to create a missed call text back workflow. And we're going to create an AI off tag management workflow. We're going to create a calendar reminder workflow. We're going to create a workflow that notifies the team if an appointment is canceled. And then we're going to create a customer reply tag. That may or may not be necessary. We'll figure that out. I think it will be necessary. Now, if this video gets too long, I may break it up into multiple parts, but I'm going to try to go through it all right now. So let's start with the lead intake workflow. So let's go back here to our main menu. So if you're just logging in for the first time, you're right here, and let's click on automations. Now we have this CloseBot v4 folder here. We imported this with a snapshot. We didn't create these manually. There are some workflows in here. We didn't create them. We just enabled this process message workflow because it was in draft mode. That's how they ship it. But we're not going to do anything. We're going to leave this core thing alone. If you want to understand what these workflows actually do, CloseBot.ai has a great knowledge base, and they explain every single one of these workflows in great detail with videos where you can go in and study these. But we're not going to go over that right now. What we're going to do to stay organized is we're going to create a folder, and I'm going to name it Lead Brain because that's the name of my company. And we're going to come in here, and we're going to create a new workflow. And the first workflow we're creating is lead intake, and we're going to create it from scratch. Now, I name mine lead intake, and you might be asking, why do you put the 0 in front of the lead intake? Well, I do that because I want the workflows to appear in logical order whenever they're in the folder. It's just a habit of mine. So 0 lead intake's the first step that happens, so I want it to appear first. Now, let's go ahead and add a new trigger. So if you come in here and add a new trigger and search for Facebook, you see this event called Facebook lead form submitted. So we're going to click that, and we're just going to click save. I like to save often inside of workflows. Sometimes your browser will crash, and if you did a bunch of work, you're going to be frustrating if you're not saving often. One thing to note, you are in draft mode. Whenever it's time to publish it, you got to make sure you turn this on. I'll remind you. But one thing I did want to show you. This event will trigger anytime any Facebook lead form that has mapped fields, like we mapped in video, make sure I'm not saying the right thing, video 5, we mapped the fields. Now, if you wanted to filter, let's say you had multiple lead forms like most people do, and you wanted to just say, hey, I only want to trigger this lead intake when this one lead form is figured out, you can add a filter here, and you can select in form and then select that form. So we have this Augusta 4-question form, which is the form that we created in video, I already forgot, video 5. So that's the form we created. You see Augusta 4-question form, and we mapped the fields in that video. So we can just say, hey, filter it out to this form. But I'm going to leave it wide open for now because anything we do, I aim to simplify, and the process should be the same whether it comes from this form or a new form I create in the future. So I don't want to have to come back and update this every time I have a new form. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I am going to add a tag. I like to add tags. Some people say I overdo it. I name my workflow steps, so I'm going to add a tag called intake, and that doesn't exist, so we're going to create it, and we're going to save that. If you see me looking down here, I have a reference document that you can't see on your screen, so forgive me. Another thing we're going to do is we are going to assign this to a user. Now, this isn't necessary. We don't have any users in this account right now, but I did just want to show you, if you have a sales team and they can only see contacts assigned to them, this is where you would go in and assign it to a user. So we're going to forego that for right now because we don't have any users configured. And what we are going to do here is we are going to create an internal notification. We want to notify our team that a new lead came in, and we're going to do that via SMS, and we're going to do it via email. Actually, we're just going to stick to SMS right now, just for sake of speed and simplicity. So we're going to notify our team that we're going to notify all users. This is a lead brain notification. You have an unqualified lead. And we're going to say name, phone number, email. And we asked some questions inside of the lead form that we had here, and the questions were, are you interested in a free wash? Yes. So I don't think all of this is important, but what I do want to bring in here is, let's say, price anchor. I want to know if they accepted that, because I might see this. When you get this notification, the lead's going to come in, you're going to see this, or your team's going to see this, and if they didn't accept a price anchor, then we're not going to disqualify them, but we'll leave it up to your team to reach out, right? So maybe they don't prioritize that lead, but the bot's still going to be active trying to qualify that lead. But maybe if they see no here, they're not going to do it. and then we have job description. Cool. I think that's important. We'll leave it at that. Super simple. Now, right now, if I send this message, it's going to have nothing in it, right? It's just going to be pure empty. But what we're going to do is we need to fill these little sections with the relevant information. But every time somebody fills out a lead form, the information changes. So how do we make sure that the right information's in here? And the answer is variables. In step 3, in video 3, we talked about variables. Well, this is where they come into play as well. So we're going to go ahead and click this little tag up here where it says custom values. And then we'll search contact and we'll say full name. So what that'll do is replace this little squiggly bracket section with the contact's full name. So if the contact's name was John Doe, it would say John Doe in here. We're going to do the same for the phone number, the email, and all the other fields. So we have a phone number here. We have an email. And then price anchor is a little different because it's in this custom field section, but you can also search in here for anchor. And we have price anchor. That's going to be a yes or no question. So that'll say yes or no. And then the job description, we can do the same thing. Let's search for description, job description, and save. Now, I like to name this SMS because we can also choose email. That way, if you're coming back and troubleshooting, you know this is the SMS step. Pretty cool. So at this point, a lead has come in, it's got tagged, and the team has been notified. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the opportunity. Remember that pipeline we just created? We want to make sure a new tile was created in that pipeline, and it's going to do it automatically so we don't have to go through that manual process. So let's click add, and we are going to search for opportunity. Create and update opportunity is what you want. In the sales pipeline, that's what we just created, and it's a new lead, so that's the stage it's going to be in. Now for the opportunity name, we will just put the contact full name. And so what it'll look like, instead of test lead, it would have John Doe in there. And we are going to select open as the status, and I allow opportunities to move to any previous stage in the pipeline. I always enable this, and this is because later on down the road when we have people in trash bin or in follow-up, if somebody's in follow-up and then all of a sudden they move back to estimate set, if you don't have this turned on, it's going to prevent you from putting it back to estimate set. So I always turn this on. So let's save that. Actually, before we save it, we're going to name this, right? We're going to say new lead, just in case we have to come back and troubleshoot. It's more descriptive. You see it pop up right here. Awesome. We created the opportunity. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send the lead an email. And I don't remember if we created an email template. I think we did. Let's see. Select from template. Yes, we did. So we created an initial email template in video 3. And so what we're going to do is send that template to the lead, right? So we don't have to fill anything out here. We already did that work. If you didn't watch video 3, go watch it, and we'll save that. So that's the initial email that goes out to the customer. So not only are you getting the lead, is your team getting notified, but the customer is also getting notified via email and soon to be text message from the bot. Next thing we're going to do, if you remember in the bot testing video, to initiate the first bot communication, I updated a field called bot override message. And that field sent a text message. So instead of sending an SMS, if I come into here, I can say send SMS, and then it'll send the text message. And just recently, CloseBot just released a feature that's called Always Aware. But before that feature, if you sent an SMS this way, the bot never knew the context of what was happening. So the way to prevent that was to update the bot override feature, and that would send it to CloseBot, and it would be aware. Even though CloseBot released that, I'm going to keep consistent in this video, and I'm going to show you how to do it via bot override message. So instead of send SMS in this stage, in the initial conversation starter, we are going to do something a little bit different, and stick with me. We are going to update contact field, and we're going to name this bot override. And we are going to update a field, and we're going to search here for bot override message. Now, in this bot override message, we are going to place the contents of a custom value that we set in video 3, and I'll show you that here in a second, because if we ever want to change it, we just have to change it in one place. But if we come down here to custom values, there's the initial bot message that we set, and we will click save. Awesome. That was a lot. So let's go back. I want to show you that custom value just in case you forgot. So let's go to settings, let's go to custom values. And that initial bot message is right here. Thank you for your interest in our service. I need to ask a few questions to get you set up with an estimate. Now, here is a question I get all the time. And it's like, well, you didn't say your name in here. you didn't introduce yourself. Well, how does this person know who you are? And that's a great question, and I'm going to show you exactly what we do to prevent that. We're going to go on a little bit of a tangent, but there is a workflow, and this is why it's important you pay attention and watch the videos all the way through. But there is a workflow that CloseBot provided us called override message, and we're going to modify that workflow a few times, but let's modify it right now, because what I do is I send an introduction, and I'll explain why. So let's go to automation, CloseBot, and override message. This is a workflow that sends the text message after you update that bot override message. So what I want to do in here is before this is sent, I am going to SMS and I'm going to say, hello, contact first name, because the full name would be weird. This is, and we're going to use variables wherever we can, because if we choose to change the name of our bot in this example, we change it in one place and it changes it for everybody, for everywhere it's used. So I think we have the bot name in here, Dewey. I thought we set that. Let's see. There you go, CloseRep bot name. So this is Alexis from, and we're going to use the account name, which is the variable location name. So follow along with me here. And account name. So hello, contact first name. This is Alexis from Vets Wash Houses. And we're going to leave it at that, right? So this is going to send an initial message. And why do I do this? So let's save this and save this. I do this because if you own an iPhone and anybody's ever texted you like, hey, this is Joe from, Walmart, up at the top, it's the iPhone's smart enough and it says, hey, maybe Joe, because it thinks you maybe know this person, but you just don't have their number saved. And what we found is that people engage with those text messages a little bit more. So the first message that's going to be sent is this, and then shortly thereafter, within a few seconds, the message that's going to be sent out is the one that's sitting here in the initial bot message. Now, I know that's a little bit confusing. If you do what I do, trust me, it's going to work, and we can move on from that. So now at this point, that initial lead intake is complete, and also it is in draft mode. So if you started to work right now, this wouldn't work. So we're going to go ahead and publish it, make sure it's on, and good to go. Now, next thing we're going to do is, let's go back to our handy dandy drawing. We already knocked out the lead intake, so let's go ahead and create our goal checker. So goal checking is going to be pretty simple, a little simple. Let's go ahead and start from scratch. And I call anything that's like not part of a flow, I call it a tool. So tool, goal check. And what we want to do is trigger off of any time a contact is updated. And before we do that, let me go back and show you something. So there is, inside of a contact, there is a field called goals complete or goals accomplished. And if you look at this, CloseBot has automatically put in its goals. So it has goals specifically for us. We just really care about once we get the address. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, why isn't name, email, phone number in here? You're absolutely right. It should be created in here. But when I was testing, we already provided a contact with name, email, phone number, so it never got created. But that doesn't matter. All we really care about is the address here, actually, and the job description. So if the address and the job description are filled out, we're going to consider that a qualified lead, and we're going to notify our team. So let's go back here to our workflows. And then this new workflow, we're going to rename it. Tool. Goal check. So let's add a trigger, and anytime a contact has changed, we're going to name this goals accomplished. You don't have to do this. I recommend you do it. Let's add filters, and we are going to look for the field goals accomplished, and we're going to say anytime address or job description is added, trigger this workflow. Actually, I think it's when both are added. It should be when either are added. So it's going to come into this workflow. One thing that's important, a contact's going to come into this workflow multiple times. So if you go into settings here, you want to make sure this allow reentry. It's on by default, but if you turned it off, you need to get it back on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a conditional statement, and if we need to check. So this just says, hey, if any of these two values are changed, come into this workflow, but now we need to make sure that both of them are checked. So we're going to say if, we'll name this address and job description. The name is arbitrary. You can name it what you want. And then branch 1 is yes. And so what we'll do here is we're going to select conditions. It's going to make more sense. It's going to draw it on the workflow here so you can see it. Go to select contact details and let's search for goals. Goals accomplished includes address and job description. Now, what this is going to do is if a contact comes in here and they only have their address filled out, then it's going to go to none. And it's just going to leave this workflow. Nothing's going to happen. And then the next time, if the job description's filled out, then it's going to come in here. It's going to realize that the conditions were met, the address and the job description were in here, and it's going to go down the yes route. So what do we want it to do during the yes route? Well, let me pull up my handy dandy reference here so that I make sure I'm not missing anything and confusing you. But we are going to add a tag. We're going to add 2 tags. I'm going to add tags AI off and qualified. Now, we haven't talked about the AI off tag, but the AI off tag is a tag that all the CloseBot workflows check for, and if that tag is set, then the bot won't interact. So now that it's qualified, we want to turn the AI off. And that's actually not even true. We're not going to do that because I forgot that we're going to book an appointment. So we're not going to turn AI off just yet. So let's go in here and let's say just qualified. We're actually going to turn AI off whenever the booking is complete. I'm glad I caught that. So we're going to add a new tag called qualified, save, cool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to update the opportunity because the opportunity is sitting in new lead if you remember. So let's go ahead and update opportunity. And we're going to name this qualified. This is in the sales pipeline, and we're going to change this stage to qualified. Now, we already filled everything out in the initial bot message or in the initial lead intake. We don't have to fill this source and all that stuff again. The only thing we do have to do is turn on the move to previous stage and click save. Everything else will remain the same and carry over from the other opportunity because you're updating an opportunity, you're not creating one. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to send an SMS to our team. We want our team to be notified that, hey, your unqualified lead is now qualified. So before we do that, I'm going to come back here and copy and paste this message just to make it easier. And I'm going to change the unqualified to qualified. All right, come in here and pick up where we left off, SMS. Actually, we're not sending an SMS. We're sending an internal notification. This is going to be an SMS notification. And if you wanted to do email, you can do email. We're just going to do SMS to make it simple. All users. And then we're going to paste this. And instead of unqualified, we are going to say qualified. You have a qualified lead. Hooray. And let's be a little bit more descriptive, a little bit more verbose. Awesome. And that's where we're going to leave that. So at this point, if the job description is filled out, which we asked for in the form, so it's going to be filled out anyway, but just in case somebody came in via like a Facebook DM or something and the bot took them all the way through qualification, once the address and the job description is filled out, we'll consider it a qualified lead and we'll notify the team. All happening automatically. Really important to note that. Now, next thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and create our short-term nurture. So this is going to be the hardest one to understand. And work with me here. So first thing we're going to do is create a customer reply tag. And it's going to be a simple workflow, but I'm going to show you how we're going to use it. So let's create a customer reply tag, start from scratch. Tool. Let's get this out of our face. Let's call it lead replied. That's more appropriate. And then in the trigger, we're going to say, look for customer replied event. Initial reply. And we're going to add filters, and we're going to say, let's see, reply channel, SMS. So if somebody replies via SMS, let me think about that for a second. Yeah. So if a customer replies via SMS, because we're going to be texting them, and I might have to think through this a little bit. I might end up making another video because we're doing this live. But we're going to focus on SMS for now. If a customer replies via SMS, and we only want them to come in here once, so we don't want to allow re-entry. If a lead comes into this workflow once, we don't want them to be triggered every time they come in. So it's important you turn that off. So if they come in here, we are going to add a tag. That's called customer replied. Now, awesome. I broke my own rule here. Let's name this. Now, why are we doing this? When we create our short-term nurture workflow, I want to be sure that if somebody replied, I want to remove them, or I want to make sure that we can check if they replied so that we don't bother them with the nurture, right? So if they're already engaging with the bot, we don't want these automatic text messages that we're going to configure to come back in. So another thing we're going to do is we are going to remove from workflow, and we're going to move them from the bot override. We're going to search for override, tool override, save. Awesome. The reason we're going to do that is because we're going to go back into the bot override message workflow, and we're going to add a wait step in there. And after that wait step, we're going to wait 30 minutes. And if the lead hasn't been removed from that workflow in 30 minutes, then we're going to push them into short-term nurture, right? It's going to make sense when we do the short-term nurture workflow. So let's go ahead and create the short-term nurture, create new workflow. And we're going to name this short-term nurture. And there's going to be no trigger in here. And the reason we're not going to add a trigger is because the bot override workflow is actually going to add contacts in here. If 30 minutes has elapsed and they don't have a tag, they're going to be put in here. But we're going to come in here and we're going to say if customer replied no. So we're going to say contact details, tags, does not include customer replied. So if the customer never replied via SMS, they'll never have this tag. So we're going to save that. So we're going to say no. And then we're going to start our SMS stuff. I'm going to show you the first two messages. And then what I'll do is I'll pause the video and continue the rest and just review them, because you don't just need to sit here and watch paint dry. But the first SMS we're going to send is, let me make sure I pull up my reference doc here. Bear with me. Awesome. Got it here. Awesome. This is my favorite message to send. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a wait step in here, and I'm going to wait until business hours. And as a matter of fact, we don't need to do that wait step. We can just say, hey, if you come into settings, specified time window, and appropriate times to send messages, let's say it's 5 or 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 8 p.m. might be too late. Let's say 7:30. I don't like to send messages on Sunday. That's up to you. You guys can. But we'll do Saturday, Monday through Saturday. All right, so now what we're going to do is send this initial SMS. This is message 2. You might be thinking, why is it message 2? So we're going to send a message saying, hey, contact, are you there, right? So, hey, Joe, are you there? Now, why is this message 2? Because if you remember, the first message already went out. That was the initial bot message that went out with the override message. So hopefully you're tracking. Now, what we're going to do, now that the short-term stuff is created, I'm going to come back to this and create it, but I am going to make that change inside of the override message really fast. So let's come into the CloseBot v4, and we're going to come into the override message. This is the one that we modified earlier to send that initial text message. And what we're going to do here is we are going to add a wait step, and we're going to say wait 30 minutes, time delay 30 minutes. And if 30 minutes elapses and our customer replied workflow didn't remove them from this workflow, because you remember that was the last step, then what we want to do is add to workflow short-term nurture. So we're going to save that, save, and then save. So you're following me. If the bot reached out and sent the initial 2 messages. Hey, my name is Alexis from Vets Wash Houses. Thank you so much for filling out your information. I need to get some more information to set up your estimate. Is that okay? And 30 minutes goes by and nothing happens. Then the lead gets added into short-term workflow. We're going to short-term nurture workflow, which we're going to hit them with 4 text messages within the next 4 to 8 hours. The reason I say 4 to 8 hours is because we wait till business hours to text them, so it may fluctuate. Okay. Let's go back to the short-term nurture workflow. I'm going to create one more message for you before I pause the video, and then we'll come back in and I'll explain what I did. So let's go back. Lead brain, short-term nurture. We got to finish this up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait, let's say, another 30 minutes. Yep. 30 minutes. And actually, we're going to do something different here. So if you come over here for wait for, we're going to wait for a contact reply, and we're going to set a timeout of 30 minutes. And it's going to ask us to select which text message are we talking about a reply from. So we're going to say text message 2, which is the one we just created. We're going to wait for a reply. If 30 minutes has elapsed and they haven't replied, move to the next step. So we'll save that. And I'll name this wait for reply or 30 minutes. And then we need a conditional statement, if, and I'm going to say reply, question mark, yes. And then in the criteria here, we'll say contact replied, true. So did it reply? Yes. Then go down this route. And actually I like to do this, is false. So let's say no. So I like to keep it consistent on the left. So did the contact reply? No. We're going to do something else. So we're going to send another SMS. Maybe I'll keep you along the whole time, make you watch paint dry, because I think it's probably best for you to see this, because I can see how this gets complicated. So we're going to send them another message. So this is like the 3rd or 4th message at this point, and we're going to say, hey, first name, I don't mean to be a bother. I'm just trying to get you set up for an estimate. If you're no longer interested, please reply, stop, and I'll remove you from the list. I call this the breakup message, or we can remain on theme and say SMS 3. Awesome. So first 30 minutes, bot didn't reply, they got this. Or lead didn't reply, they got this. Waited another 30 minutes, they didn't reply, they got this. At this point, you can go on and say, hey, I want to do the same thing for nighttime and whenever you want to send the messages, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to end like the initial torture of text messages here, and we're going to create another, let's say, we're going to wait 1 day. We're going to start like a slower, we're going to start to taper down our contact. 1 day. Let's wait for reply or 1 day. And let's search the condition. Sorry, contact reply. To SMS 3 this time. Or timeout 1 day. And then we need our if statement. Replied. No. Contact replied. False. Cool. Move on to the next step. So if a day went on and the contact didn't reply, then we're going to hit him with the next message. Now I'm going to pause the video at this point because I'm going to create a few, and then I'll come back and explain what I... All right, so we're back here, and I did some of the work for you. I didn't want to sit here and make you watch the entire time, but so let's go through real quick. So we're sending up the text message. These are sort of the short-term burst, the 30-minute burst, and then we go into 1 day waiting for a reply. If no reply was in a day, then we move on. We send the 4th text message, which is simple. Good afternoon, Joe. This is Alexis. Again, are you still interested in getting your estimate? We're going to wait another 2 days, so we're going to sort of slow down the tempo and draw out the process. Did the lead reply? No, so we're going to come into send another one. Hey, did you have any questions about our service? And we're going to go through this all over again, and we configured another 2 day, and we said another random question. Now, this is up to you. I just wanted to show you how you can create a resilient short-term nurture workflow where if the lead responds, then they go to this none side and then they leave the workflow, so you don't have to worry about them getting bothered over and over again. This is a totally optional workflow. I highly recommend you do create a workflow similar to this. We do see that a lot of our leads don't will not engage immediately, but 3 weeks later, if they're getting hit with some sort of nurture, they do respond. Maybe they get like their tax money or something and they want to book, then they'll come in and respond. So it's worth having something like this, as complicated as it may seem. So we're going to go ahead and save it, and I think the difficult part is done for now. So we have the short-term nurture, we have the lead intake, we made the modifications to the bot override message. Let's see what else we have here. So let's come in here and we need to create AI off tag management. Like, let me make sure we don't already have one of those delivered. We don't. Cool. So remember I mentioned the AI off tag. Now we want stuff to happen whenever AI off happens. Whenever somebody comes into AI off or that tag gets added, we want things to happen. So let's go ahead and create a workflow in LeadBrain from scratch. And we're going to call this a tool, AI off tag management. And the trigger is going to be anytime a tag AI off is added, contact tag, AI off. Now just typing that in there doesn't do anything. That's just a descriptor. We have to add a filter, and tag added is AI off. So anytime that's added, trigger these steps. We're going to save. And the first thing we want to do is we want to remove them from the bot override workflow. Why? If we put the tag on there, or for some reason another workflow put the AI off tag on there, and for some reason they're in the override bot message workflow waiting 30 minutes to go into short-term nurture and start hitting them with things, we want to make sure that they're pulled out of just the override workflow for right now. So this will be like if you got in contact with a lead, say you got the notification that it was an unqualified lead and you immediately picked up the phone and got in contact with them, then you added the AI off tag, or you moved it to a stage in the pipeline that automatically added the AI off tag, or they clicked the link on that last page of the lead form and they booked their own appointment on your calendar, then we can turn the bot off automatically, and we don't have to worry about them being inside of the override workflow, which is telling the bot, hey, continue to try to ping this person. So let's go ahead and publish that. Now, that's okay, and good. That's a simple one. Now let's move on to calendar appointments, right? So we only have 2 more left, so stick with me. I know this is a really dry topic, but this is very important. So 2 things we're going to do. Whenever somebody books an appointment on our calendar, we want to make sure that our team and them are updated, and they're getting notifications whenever they're 24 hours out, an hour out, 5 minutes out, whatever we decide to do, so that they don't miss appointments. We increase our show rate, and our team stays notified so they show up to their appointments. So another thing we're going to do is if the appointment gets canceled, if the lead cancels it, or if you cancel it, we want to notify everybody on the team. We want to notify you. We want to notify the team, so everybody is on the same sheet of music and it's happening automatically. So let's go back into LeadBrain, which we were already there, and we're going to create a workflow, and this time we're actually going to select from a recipe. So GoHighLevel has recipes, which are kind of like starting points for common workflows that people use, and there is one in here that is, let's see, appointment reminder. No, we don't want the survey. We want, oh, we have 3. I lied to you. We're going to have to do missed call text back, but let's, appointment recipe, appointment confirmation and reminder. We're going to select that recipe, and we're going to rename this here in a second. But if you come in here and the trigger's already set, you see it automatically loaded stuff, you have to go in here and change things, because if not, this has nothing to do with your business, and the content's just in here as an example. And if your lead starts getting this information and you didn't go through and change this information, that is going to be bad. Same thing, if you download this snapshot from me, you need to go in and review this stuff to make sure that it doesn't have anything that I put in there that doesn't make sense for your business. So let's come in here to this trigger, and we're actually just going to trigger, we're going to filter in calendar, because we may have multiple calendars, estimate calendar. So let's save that, and I like to change the name of this. I say calendar, estimate calendar notifications, and we'll save that. And the first email that's going to go out to the lead is a confirmation. Did I set the from email in here? I don't think I did. Oh, I did, but I'm not sure if it's set. We'll leave the location email in here. We didn't go over email stuff. I'll cover that in another video, but we'll leave that as it stands. Appointment confirmation. I always like to put the valuable location.name in these, because they have no clue like where this is coming from. If there's just a subject that says appointment confirmation, they have no clue who you are. So I like to include that. And here the message says your appointment has been confirmed at start date, at start time. Let us know if you have any questions in the meantime. And I'm going to remove this Zoom ID. You see, if you didn't modify this and you just kept the same thing, that Zoom ID would be in there and it says XYZ, and they'd be like, what? I didn't do a Zoom meeting. You're supposed to come to my house and do a pressure wash job. So let's go ahead and remove that. And now these are cool. Now these links, add to Google Calendar, cancel and reschedule, are automatically going to be filled with links for the lead to cancel or reschedule their appointments. If you come in here, you'll notice that there's a variable in there that's appointment cancellation link. And you can find that in here if you go to appointment and search for cancellation link and reschedule link. So that's cool. It's automatically filled. It's going to save that. Make sure you save in the bottom right-hand corner and save in the top right-hand corner. Now, another thing I like to do here, I add to this workflow because our team at this point has no clue that we got a appointment. So we're gonna SMS our team that, hey, congratulations, you just got a new appointment. So what we're gonna do is send it to all users and say, congratulations, you just booked a new estimate. And then we are going to do name. Email's probably not important here. We're going to do address because we have that now if they booked an appointment. And then job description. And then we want to inform them of the appointment time. That'll be helpful, right? So let's come in here and contact full name. Phone number in case your tech wants to contact them when they see this. Address, we are going to put their full address in there. Job description, we'll come down to custom fields. We have job description and appointment stuff. Let's go back, appointment, start date and time, and save. So as soon as that appointment gets booked, now the lead's going to get notified and they're going to get notified. Now, another thing I like to do here is I like to text the lead, right? Because nobody reads their emails, or we might end up in spam. We're not going to talk about how to not end up in spam in this video series, but SMS initial notification. Well, actually, let's say initial information. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. I can make another video about what you need to do to not end up in spam, but we're going to send them the same thing. Are we going to send links? We're not going to send links. We'll let that be handled in the email, and we could probably send them a link later if we wanted to. And you can modify this to make it be whatever you want. So we handled this here. Now 24 hours before the appointment. If you care to see how this is configured, you can come in here and do it. But if you start from the recipe, it has all this configured for you, so we're just going to keep it the same. And instead of the 24-hour email, just the email, we're also going to send a 24-hour text. And we are going to say 24-hour reminder SMS. I'm just going to put something in there real quick because I want to just copy this. Let's come in here. Hey, just a friendly reminder, your appointment's in 24 hours, and we are not going to talk about Zoom. That's not what we're doing. And I'm going to say location dot name, just so that they know who we are. And if we wanted to give them the opportunity to cancel or reschedule, here's what you would do. So you would come in here, you'd click the link, and then actually we don't remember exactly what that variable was, so we can come in here, look for appointment, where's that cancellation link, and then let's add the reschedule link. And we can just say cancel reschedule, and let's save that. So if we come in here, your meeting is in 24 hours. We can, instead of meeting, let's say estimate, because we're not doing a meeting here. Just make sure I didn't. There you go. Okay, cool. All right, let's copy this, and then let's go to this SMS that we made, and we're gonna paste that. So we could send the same thing to them. We don't need to say who we are here. They should have a text thread with us in there. Save that so they get a text as well, and we're gonna text the team. So let's copy this and copy that action to here. And we'll call that reminder. And instead of booked a new estimate, this is a reminder. Your appointment is 24 hours and your team will get notified. Now we're gonna do the same thing for an hour before. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this because you don't need to watch paint dry. All right, so we're back. I went through and I actually deleted the 5-minute reminder. It's up to you. You could leave it. I thought it was a little bit overkill for an estimate. Plus, your people might show up 5 minutes earlier, and you don't really care for them to be getting notifications. If they haven't figured out an hour from now that they had an appointment, then chances are it's not going to be good. But one thing I did do is I removed the ability in the 1 hour reminder to cancel or reschedule. At that point, I feel like they shouldn't be able to cancel or reschedule, so I didn't include that in there. But at this point, our estimate notifications are complete. So anytime the bot books an appointment for us, or the lead went on that last step of our lead form in the Facebook lead form that I showed you how to build in video 5, and they book an estimate with you on the internet, then they'll get entered into this workflow, and these notifications will automatically start firing for every lead that comes in. So we went ahead and published that. Now, the last one I want to do in relation to the calendar is I want to show you what to do. Let's just say, hey, if the appointment gets canceled. So we're going to create a new workflow from scratch, and we're going to call this calendar and appointments canceled. So we are going to search for a trigger, and that's appointment status, and we're going to say appointment status is any event type, and we're going to say status is canceled. So if the appointment is canceled, trigger this workflow. What we're going to do is we're going to add a tag that says appointment canceled, just so that we stay organized. It's totally optional for you. But most importantly, what we're going to do is we're going to notify the lead this is location name, Vets Wash Houses, informing you that your appointment has been canceled. If you believe this happened by mistake, please call or text. And we have a variable for a phone number in here that we named Twilio phone number. Appointment's canceled. Lead gets this text. We're going to inform our team as well, just in case it was the lead who canceled it. Our team has no way of knowing unless they're staring at the calendar. You could say contact full name, just appointment is canceled, and we will put their phone number and address in here just in case the team member wants it. Maybe they want to call them and try to reschedule with them or ask what happened. Heck, we can even put the job description in there just in case. Maybe they want some context to talk about. Awesome. Now, I forgot to do one thing. In the estimate calendar notifications, one of the biggest things I wanted to do here is once somebody books an appointment, right? If somebody has booked an appointment, whether it was you, the bot, or them on the internet, we want to turn off the bot, right? I forgot to add this tag. That would have been a big no-no. So we're going to add the tag AI off. As soon as somebody comes in here, we're going to turn off the bot, right? Because if it's on, we don't need it on anymore. We've already accomplished what the bot was trying to accomplish, or the bot accomplished it. Turn the bot off, right? That's all it needs to do. Awesome. Now, what are we going to do? Last one we're going to do, thank you for sticking with me. I know this is super boring. The last one we're going to do is missed call text back, okay? So let's go ahead and create a new workflow, and we are going to start from scratch. And we're going to say tool missed call text back. Now we're doing this because we want to activate the bot upon a missed call. So how do we do that? We're going to say anytime, let's say call status, so if call direction is inbound, not outbound, and the call status is canceled, let's say no answer or voicemail. So anytime they come inbound and they get a voicemail or we didn't answer, we're going to trigger this workflow. And we're going to add a tag. Add contact tag. We're going to call this missed call. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to create a conditional statement, because I don't want, like sometimes people call twice and I don't want them to get the same text message twice. So we're going to add a tag and then we're going to check for that tag. We're going to say repeat caller, question mark. The answer is no, which means that there is no contact tag. So the tags do not include missed call. Then go down this route. If they did contain the missed call, they'd go down none and they'd leave the workflow and nothing will happen. But if they did, or if they're not a repeat caller, then they'd come in here and we would actually update contact field. Now, we're going to update the bot override message, and we know at this point, actually we're not. We're just going to send an SMS at this point, right? We're going to say, let's see, let me think about this for a second. Do we want to update the bot override message? If we do that, they may have come in afterwards. The reason we're not going to update the bot override message is because the bot may be off by this point, right? If it's somebody who came in already and they already have an estimate and they called, they just got missed, we're just going to have a generic message in here that says, text me back. Now, because the bot's always aware of any messages that get sent inside of GoHighLevel, we're actually just going to send an SMS here that's going to say, hey, this is Alexis from location name. Sorry we couldn't get to your call. Is there any way I can help you over text? And then try to provoke a text message. So we're going to send an SMS here. Hey, we don't have their name at this point. We may or we may not, so we're not going to use that that variable. So we're going to say, hey, this is bot, CloseBot rep name. Now remember, we're using variables, because if I put Alexis in here and I change the bot's name to Fran tomorrow, then we'd have to find all these places where we use this instead of just going to one place, the custom value setting, and changing it. So, hey, this is Alexis from location name. So let's say account name. Sorry we missed your call. Is there any way I can help you via text? And save that. Now, that text is automatically going to go out whether the bot is on or off, but the difference is if the customer replies and the customer's already in our system and they're qualified and they have an appointment and the bot's off for some reason, if they reply and the AI off tag is there, then the bot's not going to engage with them. It's just going to reply. You'll get notified on your app that they replied and you can respond to them. But if it's a new lead and they don't have the AI off tag, then the bot is going to be active and it's going to go get phone number, email, name, because we don't have that, a job description, and try to book an estimate. So there it is. We're going to publish that, and that's our advanced missed call text back feature. So that was a lot. That was a long video. At this point, what we're going to do is end the video here. Thank you for sticking with me. If you like this content, if you find it valuable, like, comment, subscribe. Sorry if this was a dry video and it was kind of back and forth, but if you've done anything with GoHighLevel workflows before, if you've troubleshot them, if you created them, if you inherited some from a snapshot, you know that they can get really complex, and some things depend on other things. So it's important that you pay attention. It's also important that you come into each and every one of these workflows and you understand them and you make them your own. If any of this is overwhelming and you're just like, I just want you to do it, reach out to me. There's links in the description below. We do this full service for our clients so they don't have to worry about it. And as a reminder, I'm going to provide you all this in a snapshot for some crazy low price so you can have it and you don't have to spend time doing this. Have a nice day. Peace.